welcome to my channel. Well, I don't know exactly what I'm going to title this video, but this is kind of the difference between when is a knife basically too good to use. And what I mean by too good, you have other examples that you can use for whatever task you want to do, but the knife that represents that. And this is not totally example. I'm not saying that the case Bowie is the epitome of the perfect Bowie, but in my collection, this is the most expensive Bowie knife that I have, and this is one of the least expensive. So my talk is basically about there's various reasons for having safe queens of anything. You want a pristine example, untouched or whatever, as a backup, a spare, as a display piece, whatever. Usually, I don't have safe queens because I like using my knives. Even the Case Bowie. I freaked out some people by throwing it into the ground. I know better now, but I mean, even then, I was kind of like, well, if it encounters a rock, I want to see what a really good Bowie would do compared to. I haven't thrown this one on the ground yet either. But I mean, I had like an Ozark Trails or something I was throwing into the ground, and I throw a lot of my knives. Now I'm not doing it as much because yeah, you can run into rocks. It's like, why throw your knife into concrete, unless you want to, do a destruction test. But I think the reason why is I don't have a lot of safe queens is, one is the cost, and number two, I like knives. I can understand why people put them away. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new knife. It could be a knife that, nostalgia, that your grandfather, your father used or something like that, and gave you, to you when you were a kid. And you could use other knives. Sometimes you use it just to get that connection with them, but you don't want to put it through a lot of crap. You don't want to really use it like a knife. I mean, you might use it like a knife, but you don't want to abuse it. You don't want to do anything like that. And I don't know why I'm discussing this other than to say it's something that's rare with me. It's something with, I can understand collectors. People are having safe queens for making their investment go up. They bought 2 GECs at the time, and one is already worth double if they wanted to sell it, and it's only going to go up in value. So, there's reasons for like investment and everything. For me, I have 2 of these, thanks to Toby and Kids. He sent me this one first, and I started using it, and later on he sent me this black-handled one. And when you have 2 of the same exact knife, well, the black-handled one has never been used. It's a display piece. I have it sitting up there, and every day I look up at my wall and I see it sitting in the case, display case, just sitting there. And it's cool because it's like those old firearms displays and swords displays you'd see of people having over their fireplace, animals they've shot and stuff, like wall mountains. There's something kind of old to it about having a physical, like knives sitting up there. And as far as art goes, these things, I don't know if they're still making them, but they were over $200, to get one. I've never spent $200 on art as far as like for pictures for the wall, but this is art to me. This is art. So, it's like they say, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and leave it at that. But yeah, I tend to use all of my knives. I like the inexpensive one. To me, this is, like I said, this is one of the best all around, just like Bowie knives. It's not the strongest. It's got probably a stick tang to it or something like that. So it's not going to do all the super cool YouTube videos of batoning through a lot of stuff. It probably could, you know, as long as anytime you're batoning and you have a blade where the diameter tapers down, uh, if you hit on this side and you're going up a resistance here, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know, to me, like I said, batoning doesn't make sense, but sometimes it does, you know, in emergencies and stuff like that. I don't want to go on the anti-baton rant again, you know, but um, like I said, I was able to survive 90% of my life, well, actually more than that, without batoning a single thing and making fires out in the woods. I mean, I'm not no Jeremiah Johnson, you know. I've been out there. Even he had to learn when he first went out. But I made quite a few campfires without ever needing to baton wood. But there are other things, you know, when you got big, thick, round uh, stumps and stuff like that. There's probably twigs available too. But anyways, see, I almost got into it. But for me, which is more practical? The inexpensive ones. You're going to use the inexpensive knife a lot more than one of these. Now you want an inexpensive knife that will hold up to what you want to do. So if your favorite thing is batoning and beating wood, you know, with a big knife, get a full tang. That's still no guarantee. It depends on the heat treatment and how hard they rock weld it and all that other stuff, you know. But do your research. Get a knife that'll survive what you intend to do with it. And then put up all your videos of you splitting wood with your knife. If it makes you happy, okay. But again, man, I just really can't get into it. And I disagree that that is the standard you should judge a knife by. Is whether it can baton through wood is determines whether or not it's a good knife. And these are people who will probably never go out in the woods and never baton their knife, but they look at it and they say, "Wow, you know that guy, he hit it. You know, he was going through an 8-foot tree and he hit it back here, and the thing bent or broke. Well, that's a lousy $20 knife there. I'm telling you, I've done better. Here it goes. You know how lousy that knife is. All right." Consider your application, you know. What are you going to use it for? Does it survive what you use it for? Then for you, it's a good knife. Don't listen to what other people say about how this YouTube expert said that this knife is junk, or anything in this steel is junk. Have you ever tried it? Have you tried it? Have you tried that steel? If you're basing your opinions and your purchases on one guy saying this, or one guy who listened to another guy who said that, test it out yourself, you know. HCR 13, MOV, junk steel. Depends on what you're using it for. Man, it's stainless. Holds an edge fairly well. It don't hold it forever. But what advantage do you get with a knife that doesn't hold an edge as well as, let's say, one of the super hard steels? You know, you can sharpen it. You don't need diamond stones and stuff like that. You can sharpen it with available materials. What does that mean? That means when your knife goes dull, you can make it sharp again. Pretty easy. If you don't know how to make your knife sharp when it goes dull on the super steel, guess what? Now you're going to find out that you should have pulled out a backup knife or something, or you should have had a sharpening method, because harder steels like that are harder to sharpen, but they're not impossible. You know, you can sharpen it with regular stones and everything. It's just going to take longer. Because what? Edge resistance equals taking off the edge resistance, you know? And the only way you can usually get around on super steels with making them almost the same as a regular one is by using diamond stones and stuff like that. That will cut down on super steels because it's harder. You have to get something a lot harder than it. And yeah, but anyways, that's all I want to say. It was just a little rant, a little ramble about Save Queens and which ones I like more. And don't get me wrong, I love having that one just sit up there and just stare back at me, the case Bowie knife, because I love the shape. It just says knife to me. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I could put a kitchen knife up there on the wall. Yeah, look at this chef knife. And I'm sure some people do. People that are into cooking, may look at chef knives and, those things cost a lot of money too. If you start looking into actual, kitchenware cutlery, man, you can spend some bucks. And I think it's always been that way with those. That's not just like a phenomenon or anything, but still, there you go. That's my little rant and ramble. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention was, I don't know if I can find. Oh yeah, here it is. When I was walking around in the parking lot the other day, this is a little side thing. I found a dime. All right, that's all right. But I found a penny, and this is what happens to pennies. This is kind of unfortunate. Look at this. A 1948 wheat penny. See, if it's sitting on the concrete and cars run over it, they scrape it. And this one's been run over multiple times, but it looked like originally you check wheat penny wear by looking to see if you can see the individual wreaths in the pieces of wheat. You're looking for signs where, man, this one looked like it was in pretty good shape. Was. Numismatically now, this thing's probably only worth the copper value, of the penny. If only I'd have found that before it got ran over. But I've got a lot of wheat pennies. Still, 1948, man, that's history. We're just after World War II. In America here, times were starting to boom. This is when the baby boomers were starting to be made. I was born in 57, so, the foundation of it was beginning. But, yeah, anyways, there you go. That's my little rant and ramble, and little side thing about stuff you find, and, on coins. This is really unfortunate, that would be if you found a case knife run over in the parking lot. Now, it being case and lifetime warranty and all that other stuff, you could send it in and get it fixed up. This, it's only a penny. But there goes a piece of history, basically. So anyways, there you go. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Well, Shadow's busy drinking his water, and Buddy's ready to ambush him. So, yeah, they're going to have to work this out, because I think Buddy's playing a psychological game of he's staying in more. And Shadow likes to be around me, so they're kind of competing for attention. But Buddy is the more dominant one. Shadow doesn't want to fight him. He stands his ground, but he's not really that much of a fighter. And Buddy is a fighter. Buddy, he's got his territory. Both of these are male cats, so just having one male cat not neutered is an experience, but two of them in the same proximity. Yeah, so now he's gonna notice. You'll see his attitude change when he looks around to where he would normally go. His attitude is gonna change when he notices Buddy. He hasn't noticed him yet. He's always confused about that. Why does that stop? Oh, your eyes need fixed. It's really hard to get to their eyes to clean out that stuff because they might tolerate you petting them, but getting your fingers up by their eyes, usually, especially on a stray cat. Now he sees him. See, now he sees what's going to happen. You want me to transport you out? Want me to give you the kitty elevator? No, you're going to handle it on your own, huh? Okay. Here goes. He's trying to do it quietly.